My beloved child, there is a reason this message found you today, and it is not by accident. Before you do anything else, listen carefully. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. For a long time, a question has been moving silently through your family story, hidden beneath old conversations, forgotten documents, and memories nobody wanted to revisit. You may have felt it without understanding it. You may have sensed that something connected to your name was never fully explained. What if I told you that years ago, when nobody was paying attention, your father made a decision that was meant to protect your future? A decision that carried your name. A decision that was never supposed to disappear. Yet somehow, the truth became buried beneath silence. And now, the silence is beginning to crack. There was a moment in the past when your father looked beyond the struggles of that day and thought about tomorrow. While others focused on temporary things, his mind was fixed on something lasting. He wanted security. He wanted stability. He wanted a future that would stand even when storms arrived. That is why a piece of land became connected to your name. Not because of chance. Not because of luck. Because he believed there would come a day when that decision would matter more than anyone could imagine. But here is where the story becomes strange. As time passed, fewer people mentioned it. Conversations changed. Records became difficult to find. Certain details stopped appearing whenever the topic came up. And one relative, someone who knew more than they ever admitted, remained unusually quiet whenever that land was mentioned. At first, nobody noticed. But silence often reveals more than words. You have probably experienced moments that felt impossible to explain. Times when family discussions suddenly changed direction the moment a certain subject appeared. Times when someone seemed uncomfortable for no clear reason. Times when a simple question never received a direct answer. Those moments were not random. They were pieces of a puzzle. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what seemed like ordinary family behavior may have been connected to something much bigger. Imagine discovering that a forgotten decision from years ago is still influencing events today. Imagine realizing that people around you know fragments of a truth they never fully shared. The most surprising part is not the land itself. The most surprising part is what happened after your father made that decision. Someone noticed. Someone paid attention. Someone understood the importance of what had been done long before anyone else realized it. And that is where everything begins to change. Because the story is no longer sleeping in the past. It is moving toward the present. Very soon, pieces that never seemed connected will start fitting together. A name, a memory, a forgotten conversation, an old document, a strange reaction from a relative, each one carries a clue. What makes this so powerful is that the truth has a way of returning no matter how deeply it is hidden. The people who believed time would erase it never expected certain details to survive. Yet they did. Right now, as you listen, forces that have remained unseen are quietly pushing this story back into the light. And when the next piece is revealed, you will understand why that relative became so uncomfortable whenever the subject came near. What they knew may be far bigger than anyone imagined. But that revelation is only beginning, because the next part uncovers the first sign that something was being kept from you all along. My beloved child, the first sign was never hidden in a locked box or a secret place. It was hidden in plain sight, where almost nobody thought to look. That is what makes this story so unbelievable. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The more you look back, the more certain moments begin to feel different. A strange expression on someone's face. A conversation that suddenly stopped when you entered the room. A relative who always seemed eager to discuss every family matter except one specific topic. At the time, it appeared normal. But now those memories carry a different meaning. Because when people are protecting a secret, they rarely reveal it directly. Instead, they avoid it. They change the subject. They create distractions. And over the years, those distractions become so common that nobody notices them anymore. What makes this even more surprising is that the truth may have been trying to reach you for a long time. Think about the moments when old family stories resurfaced unexpectedly. Think about the times when someone almost said something important and then stopped. Those were not meaningless events. They were cracks in a wall that was becoming harder to maintain. Somewhere along the way, a person who knew part of the story became worried that too many questions were being asked. That worry grew each time the past was mentioned. Each time your father's plans were remembered. Each time someone brought up the subject that everyone else preferred to leave alone. The strange thing is that secrets often become heavier with age. Instead of disappearing, they become harder to carry. And when that happens, small clues begin escaping into the open. You may wonder why nobody simply came forward and explained everything. The answer is simpler than most people think. Sometimes people remain silent because they fear what the truth will change. Not because the truth is dangerous, but because it is powerful. A single revelation can reshape years of assumptions. It can force people to rethink stories they accepted without question. It can expose things that were never supposed to be questioned. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the deeper this story goes, the clearer one fact becomes: your father's decision was never forgotten by everyone. At least one person remembered every detail. At least one person understood exactly why that land mattered. And for reasons nobody fully understands, that person watched quietly as the years passed. Now listen carefully, because this is where the mystery grows stronger. There are moments in every family's history that become turning points. Most people recognize them only after everything changes. This story is approaching one of those moments. The clues are no longer scattered. They are beginning to connect. The silence is becoming difficult to maintain. The unanswered questions are growing louder. And somewhere within those questions lies a detail so unexpected that it could change the way you see this entire situation. The relative who remained silent may not have been protecting only information. They may have been protecting a story that was never meant to return. But the past has started moving again, and in the next part, the reason behind that silence becomes far more shocking than anyone expected. My beloved child, every secret reaches a moment when it can no longer stay hidden, and this story is approaching that moment faster than anyone realizes. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The silence surrounding your father's decision was not created overnight. It was built slowly, layer by layer, year after year. Every unanswered question added another layer. Every avoided conversation made the wall stronger. Yet the strange thing about walls built on silence is that they eventually begin to crack from the inside. The people who helped maintain the story start carrying the weight of it. They become cautious. They become nervous. They begin watching their words more carefully than before. And that is exactly what may have happened here. Someone knew that if the right detail ever resurfaced, everything could change in an instant. Imagine discovering that a memory you thought was insignificant was actually connected to something much larger. Perhaps there was an old discussion you overheard as a child. Perhaps there was a family gathering where a certain topic created visible discomfort. Perhaps there was a name, a place, or a document that appeared briefly and then vanished from every conversation. Those moments may not have been random. They may have been pieces of a much bigger picture. The remarkable part is that the truth often leaves footprints behind, even when people try to erase them. A forgotten remark. An unexpected reaction. A story that never sounded complete. These are the clues that survive when everything else fades away. And right now, those clues are beginning to point in the same direction. What nobody expected was that time itself would become part of the mystery. Years passed. Circumstances changed. People moved on with their lives. Yet the question never completely disappeared. It lingered quietly in the background, waiting for the right moment to return. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the longer a hidden truth remains buried, the more powerful its return becomes. There are people who believed the past would stay locked away forever. They believed memories would fade, records would disappear, and questions would stop being asked. But they underestimated something important. They underestimated how persistent the truth can be. Even after years of silence, it has a way of finding a path back into the light. And now comes the part that changes everything. Somewhere within this story is a detail that very few people ever paid attention to, yet it may be the key to understanding the entire situation. Not a dramatic event. Not a public announcement. Just one overlooked piece of information that quietly survived while everything else faded. The relative who stayed silent may have understood the importance of that detail from the very beginning. That is why their reactions never quite made sense. That is why certain conversations always seemed incomplete. And that is why the story feels unfinished even today. Because the most important piece was never discussed openly. But in the next part, the hidden reason behind that missing piece finally begins to emerge, and once it does, the entire mystery takes a direction nobody saw coming. My beloved child, there is a reason certain pieces of this story never seem to fit together. For years, People focused on the obvious details while overlooking the one thing that mattered most. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The hidden piece was not the land itself. It was the intention behind it. Your father did not make that decision casually. He thought about the future. He thought about what would remain long after conversations ended and circumstances changed. That is why the story refuses to disappear. The decision carried meaning, and meaning has a strange way of surviving even when facts become blurred. Somewhere deep inside the family history, that meaning remained alive, waiting for the moment when someone would finally connect the dots. As the years passed, the people who knew fragments of the truth began acting as if the subject was closed. Yet their actions told a different story. Whenever a matter is truly settled, people speak about it naturally. They do not become uncomfortable. They do not rush to change the topic. They do not react with hesitation. But this situation was different. Every time the past came close, there was tension. Every time questions appeared, there was caution. And that caution revealed something important. It revealed that the story still mattered. It revealed that at least one person understood the significance of what had happened long ago. More importantly, it suggested that there was a reason they did not want the conversation to go too far. Then something unexpected began to happen. The clues that once seemed disconnected started forming a pattern. Old memories matched forgotten remarks. Unusual reactions matched unanswered questions. Tiny details that appeared meaningless suddenly became impossible to ignore. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because this is where many hidden stories begin to reveal themselves. Not through one giant discovery, but through a series of small realizations that gradually expose the larger truth. Each realization removes another layer of confusion. Each realization brings the past closer to the present. And with every layer removed, the silence surrounding your father's decision becomes harder to explain. Now the story stands at a turning point. The mystery is no longer about whether something was hidden. The mystery is about why it was hidden for so long. That question leads directly to the heart of everything. Because once the reason is understood, every strange reaction, every avoided discussion, and every uncomfortable silence suddenly makes sense. The relative who remained quiet may have been carrying knowledge they never expected to revisit. Knowledge connected not only to the past, but to